The moment you say, this is who I am, you stop asking, who could I become? People don't lack ability. They lack belief. Not belief in a positive thinking sense, but belief in what's possible for them. And beliefs are nothing more than conditioned patterns reinforced by emotion and repetition. At some point in your life, you experience pain, rejection, failure, or disappointment. And your brain tried to protect you by drawing a conclusion. That conclusion became a rule. That rule became an identity. And now you're living by a rule you never consciously agreed to. Let me be very clear. The lie feels real because it's been rehearsed. But repetition does not equal truth. You see, your brain's primary job is not to make you happy, it's to keep you safe. And safe means familiar, even if familiar is painful. Even if familiar is limiting. Even if familiar is destroying your potential. So the brain feeds you stories that keep you where you are. Stories like, now's not the right time, I'll do it when I'm ready, people like me don't succeed at that. Those stories feel logical, but they are not facts. They are habits of thought. And here's the breakthrough. The moment you question the lie, you weaken it. The moment you interrupt the pattern, you reclaim your power. Because the lie cannot survive conscious awareness, ask yourself, what belief have I been using as an excuse to stay small? What story do I tell myself when it's time to step up? What do I say about my limits, my worth, my capabilities, and most importantly, who would I be without that story? You don't need a new personality. You don't need to become someone else. You need to remember who you were before fear taught you to play small, before disappointment taught you to settle, before comparison taught you to doubt yourself. That person is still there, stronger than you think, smarter than you believe, more capable than you've ever allowed yourself to see. Progress doesn't come from waiting for confidence. Confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself, from doing the thing even when your voice shakes, from choosing growth over comfort again and again. Every time you act despite the lie, you rewrite your identity. Every time you move forward while afraid, you prove the lie wrong. And listen, your life will not change because you listen to this. It will change because of what you do next. Insight without action is entertainment. Transformation requires decision. A real decision, the kind that says, no more living by old rules, no more negotiating with fear, no more postponing the life you know you're capable of. You were not born to survive. You were born to expand, to grow, to contribute, to become more than your past conditioning. The lie says, stay where you are. The truth says there's more in you, and it's time to demand it. So stand up inside yourself right now. Decide that the story ends here. Decide that today is the day you. Or stop believing what's been keeping you stuck and start living from what's been waiting to be unleashed. The most powerful prison keeping you stuck is a belief you accepted without questioning. And the reason it's so powerful is because you don't see it as a belief, you see it as reality. You see it as the truth about who you are, what you can handle, what you deserve, and what's possible for your life. That belief didn't come from nowhere. It was formed in moments of emotional intensity. Moments of pain, embarrassment, rejection, failure, or disappointment when your nervous system was searching for certainty. In those moments, your brain grabbed onto a meaning because meaning feels like control, and control feels like safety. At some point, something didn't work out. You tried, and it hurt. You trusted, and you were let down. You reached, and you fell short. And instead of saying, this was an experience, you said, this is who I am. Instead of saying, that didn't work, you said, I don't work. And that single interpretation became a rule you've been living by ever since. Not because it's true, but because it's familiar. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. They fail because they are loyal to an identity that was built in survival mode, an identity that says, don't risk too much, don't expect too much, don't want too much. An identity that confuses protection with limitation. And the longer you live inside that identity, the more evidence you collect to prove it right, because the brain is a meaning-making machine. It will always find proof for whatever you decide to believe. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll notice every mistake and ignore every win. If you believe you always get abandoned, you'll push people away just to confirm it. If you believe success is for other people, you'll hesitate at the exact moment you need to move. This isn't logic, this is conditioning, and conditioning can be changed, but only when it's challenged. The lie survives because it goes unquestioned. It sounds like your own voice. It feels like common sense. It says things like, I'm just being realistic, or I know my limits, or I don't want to get my hopes up. But realism without vision is just another form of fear. Limits are often memories mistaken for facts. And lowering expectations doesn't protect you from pain. It guarantees regret. Think about how many decisions you've made not based on what you wanted, but on what you thought you could handle. How many dreams you downsized so you wouldn't have to feel disappointment again. How many times you chose comfort over growth and called it maturity. That wasn't wisdom. That was conditioning running your life on autopilot. Here's what most people never realize. Beliefs are not truths. They are emotional habits. They are patterns rehearsed so many times that they feel permanent. But the moment you interrupt the pattern, the moment you ask, is this absolutely true, the structure starts to crack. Because the belief has no power without your agreement. You were not born believing you were limited. You learned it. And anything learned can be unlearned. The question is not whether you have the ability to change. The question is whether you are willing to feel uncomfortable long enough to build a new identity. Because change requires you to step outside the familiar version of yourself, and the familiar self will fight back. It will create doubt. It will create fear. It will create reasons to wait. Not because you're wrong, but because the old identity feels like home. But growth has never happened inside comfort. Every breakthrough you've ever had in your life came from a moment when you did something before you felt ready, before you felt confident, before you felt certain. And every time you did that, you proved something to yourself. You proved thought.